So good afternoon. My name is Oyin Adebayo, and I'm so honored and privileged to be joined by the amazing, the Lord Mana. No, I'm joking. Vusi Thembekwayo. It's a privilege to have him come all the way from South Africa to here in Birmingham to just speak to us about the power of women building tech products. So welcome to Vusi.
Miss Adebayo, thank you for having me at this beautiful establishment.
Thank you.
I love what you've done here. It looks really, really nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And, you know, just before we started filming this, all of the funny conversations we've had, Mr. Vusi is actually not as, serious as he appears. He's actually really funny.
I hear this a lot, that my avatar online is quite serious. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. It's true. It's true. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It means that you are a man of honor and wisdom. But just before we kind of go into it, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those people that don't know?
So, Vusi Thembekwayo, I'm the CEO of My Growth Fund. We're a impact investment fund operating across the African continent, and a best-selling author, speaker, entrepreneur, dad. My favorite job in the world is being a dad. I take this job very seriously.
Okay, I love that. I love that. I love that. Thank you. So I have a few questions for you when it comes to women and also enabling women to build. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think about the ability for women to build and what actually stopping us from building tech product?
I think it's a multi-layered conversation. I think first, the world has to have a conversation about whether or not there is a proportional amount of opportunities that go to women who have the capability and the capacity to build. So, and I think the world has to be honest about that. And then the second has to be, once the opportunity question has been answered, has to be, is there sufficient skills and training? Which is in part what you do with your company, right? It's around upskilling your clientele, who are predominantly women, to have the skills to operate in the modern world. And it's a very different world to what it was a few years ago.
What's interesting as well, I think, aside from the need to upskill, there is also a need to be in the right environment, have the right opportunity.
Oh yeah.
What are your kind of thoughts and mindset or wisdom to share with women that are listening on how to build environments that can enable them to have the right opportunity?
I think, the biggest changes I have made in my life were aligned to the environment I was in, right? And I want to encourage all the entrepreneurs watching this that sometimes the thing you're trying to do isn't as far away from you as you think. But the change you need to make is where you are, not what you're doing. Because networks, the right environment opens you to the right networks, it brings you into the right conversations, and it puts you into the consideration mind space of people who can fundamentally change your trajectory, right? So I think it's very important for people to be intentional about being in the right environment.
Amazing. And that's why we actually have put together Niyo Fest, because we believe that we need to be able to create environments, not just to upskill people, because people can work hard, can have the right skill. But if you don't have environments for opportunity, it becomes really difficult for you to be able to actually exercise those skills that you have. So can you tell the audience a little bit more about what you're going to be talking about at Niyo Fest? Give them a little bit of a snippet.
So, the work I do has been around understanding how let me say it differently. It's been around understanding how other groups, designate groups, have been able to succeed and scale. That's the work I do.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to be sharing with the audience is, this is what the science tells us. This is what the data says. And the data are clear, right? There are a set of things that, done in a particular sequence, better your opportunities and better your chance of success. And I'm just going to be speaking about what those things are and what the sequence of those things need to be. Now, when you leave the room, you've actually got to do them, right? But I'll be sharing light around, this is what you need to do. I'm very, very passionate about helping, in particular, people of color recognize and realize that we are just as capable as every other race group in the world, right? And it's in part why I'm here. I was speaking yesterday at the UK Black Business Conference, and it's around this conversation of how do we as a community really understand how important it is for us to take charge of our own economic destiny. And the work you're doing aimed at bringing women into the mainstream is so important, because every designate group that has suffered some disadvantage needs a disproportionate amount of effort, resources, and space for them to catch up. And I think that's why the fest is so important, and that's why the skilling is so important. But more importantly, that's why it's so important for each and every single one of the people who will be in the audience to know not just the what to do, but when and why.
I think lastly, just before we kind of round off this conversation,
Sure.
What's your advice to entrepreneurs who may be coming to this conference? How should they come and how should they navigate the room? Because we're going to be having it like a venue full of heavyweights.
Well, the first thing I would say is don't come to the conference looking to sign checks. This is a big mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make. Come into the venue looking to create relationships. When you have strong relationships, your odds of success, increase by an order of magnitude. And so it's really important to have strong relationships. Relationships do several things. They give you the opportunities you didn't know you needed. They give you the access that you do need to do what needs to get done. But also relationships give you the insights and the reflection that is actually necessary for you to get to where you need to get to next.
Right. I mean, I absolutely love it. I think, I wouldn't be where I am today without relationships. And I'm sure you wouldn't be where you are today without
for sure.
relationships.
For sure. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I started public speaking at 17. I started public speaking at 15. I was competing at world championship level at 17. That's because I had an incredible trainer. Relationships. When I started in this business of venture, I had an incredible trainer. Relationships. When I was writing my first book, an incredible trainer. Relationships. Right. I think it's very important for people to understand. Even today, I still have people today that I defer to, that I call, that I say, I'm looking at this and I'm struggling with this, or I need that, or how would you think I approach this? Relationships. I think it's the wisdom of many is such an important thing to be able to leverage as you build.
Oh, I have a burning question. And
Please go for it.
It was the last one.
Go for it.
You mentioned that relationships are really important, but like this, for me, I see relationships as 3 layers. People that are your mentors who are above you.
Oh, yeah.
People that are on your level and people that are your mentees.
Yes.
How have you been able to navigate that, especially as you've grown your career and as you've become a lot more prominent in the world? How have you been able to get mentors, and what do you look for in a mentor?
So I actually like your process, kind of 3 layers. I have 3 as well, but mine aren't as layered as yours. They're just different competencies. So what I call the CMS, and I encourage every entrepreneur to have a CMS system. It's a coach, a mentor, and a sponsor. Right. The coach is the person working with you every day, or on a frequent basis, on a specific set of micro things you need to do to get the results. You're into gymming, right? The coach is your trainer. They're the person that tells you your technique is wrong, or what's wrong with your motivation today. They're the one who, the true role of a trainer in the gym is called 2 more. That's all the trainer is. It's the person who goes, it's so sore. 2 more, give me 2 more. Exactly.
No, I feel it.
So you need a coach. And I have a coach in terms of how I live my personal life. I have a coach in my faith. I have a coach in my business. And these coaches are so foundational for me because they keep me accountable. So that's the first. Then you need a mentor. And a mentor is the person who's been where you are trying to go, but doesn't have the time to see you every day. And I find a lot of young people in particular, a lot of entrepreneurs make this mistake. They'll come out at me and say, please be my mentor. What they actually mean is be my coach. No, I'm so busy, I don't have the time to be talking to you on a weekly basis or twice a week or even on a monthly basis. I talk to my mentor once, maybe every 3 months. But he knows that when I call him, it's important. And no matter where in the world he is, in fact, I've got 2, he and a she, no matter where in the world they are, they will within 24 hours call me back. And here's what I do. I tell them the one thing I'm struggling with, the 3 pieces of information they need to know to help me make a decision, and the one outcome I'm trying to get to. Okay. 1, 3, 1. So it's a very finite conversation with the mentor. Struggling with this, here are the variables that you need to be aware of. Here's what I'm trying to achieve. How would you suggest I go about this? And because they have been where I am trying to go, they have a better sense of how to navigate that road. And then I have a sponsor. I've got several sponsors actually. A sponsor is the person who speaks for me in rooms where I have no voice. Right. So a sponsor is somebody who makes. I was on the most influential people of African descent list.
Oh yeah,
MyPad. Camille, fantastic sponsor. He will be with you in rooms and he will mention your name and he will speak up for you, right? You want to be able to manage those kind of relationships. And so I've been very intentional about building those sponsor-led relationships. As a consequence, some of the best opportunities I've come across, some of the best deals I've come across were from sponsors. I didn't even know I was in the running for something. Then suddenly the phone rang and they said, hey, X, Y, and Z recommended you. We trust X, Y, and Z, so we trust you. And here's the opportunity and here's what we want you to do. So I want to encourage all the entrepreneurs watching this. Think about who your coach is. Think about who your mentor is. And think about who your sponsors are.
Yeah.
And don't confuse these.
Amazing. Thank you so much. The Lord Manor.
Lord of the...
the Lord of the Manor, sorry. Vusi Thembekwayo. He is going to be at Niyo Fest between the 3rd and the 5th of October. So if you would like to come and see him, go on niyofest.com and make sure you purchase your ticket.